Brothers, welcome today. In this video I have a special for you about one of the biggest questions in Space Marine 2, blocking or fencing, which one to choose. It is a debate in the community, which one is better. We all do know fencing triggers gun strikes, which deal some great damage, but the blocking weapons, you can build up adrenaline times 2, which performs great deal of damage in an area of 5 meters, I believe. It's great for crowd control, but both have their ups and downs. So let's get to it. Which choices you have to make if you have to choose between fencing or blocking weapons. So first of all, I'm taking the chainsword as an example in this video. You always have the options between fencing, blocking and balanced. My suggestion is never take the balanced weapon. Always go for 100% fencing or blocking, because the stats, some are better, some are worse, and it is better to go for one way than something in between. Balance doesn't trigger any blocking damage and your parry window to fence is smaller. So go for fencing or blocking. The main question you have to ask yourself if you're having any doubts between fencing or blocking is to consider which perks you are running, because the perks should decide if you're going for fencing or blocking. First of all, there are two classes that you can choose which have total freedom from fencing or blocking. First of all, the heavy class. Well, let's say he is the loser of this video because he doesn't have any melee weapons, so you cannot block. It's always a small fencing window, so for this video the heavy isn't important. As for the Vanguard doesn't have any perks where fencing or blocking is important. He does have some perks where fencing, blocking and dodging are all in the perk itself. So you have total freedom to choose between fencing and blocking on the Vanguard class. I prefer the blocking weapons, the blocking chainsword. I do believe it's the best melee weapon on the Vanguard, because the damage output on the blocking weapons is higher than the fencing weapons. But for the other classes, the tactical, assault, bulwark and sniper, there are some perks you have to take into account where fencing is really important if you choose them. On the tactical you have only to deal with one perk, that is the relentless pursuit. So after a gun strike your range damage increases for 25%. If you want gun strikes you need to have a fencing weapon. If you perfect parry you trigger a gun strike, and if you trigger a gun strike you trigger this relentless pursuit perk. So if you're choosing a blocking weapon and you're running this relentless pursuit perk, you are not synchronizing your weapon and your perk loadout. So if you're going for a blocking weapon on the tactical class, you better choose heightened vigor or the versatility. That's the only perk on the tactical class you have to take account with if you're choosing between fencing or blocking. For the assault, that's a more difficult story. First of all, you have the armor reinforcement. A non-finisher gun strike restores 1 armor segment. If you like this perk, run a fencing weapon. If you don't run this perk, you can choose a blocking weapon. But there's another perk, and it's the most important perk, it's the team perk. Gun strikes damage increase with 30%. Do not run blocking weapons with this perk, especially for the entire team, because if you have 2 out of 3 team members running blocking weapons, 66% of this perk doesn't come in effect, isn't triggered. So if you have any friends, make sure they are running fencing weapons if you're playing assault and running the proven efficiency perk. Really important. So most of the time I am running a fencing weapon on my assault class because I really love the proven efficiency. If you like the damage of a blocking weapon more, go for the strategic strikes or the squad cohesion. So that is for the assault class. The Vanguard class, like I said, total freedom, go blocking because he doesn't need any gun strikes. The Bulwark, he also has the gun strikes. The armor reinforcement restores 1 armor segment. So if you're running that perk, go fencing. Besides that, and this is the most important one on the Bulwark, the intimidating aura. The intimidating aura is a perk only triggered by a perfect parry, so not a perfect block. And this perk is one of the strongest perks on the Bulwark. The damage that comes out of the intimidating aura is quite big. So make sure you are running a fencing weapon alongside the intimidating aura perk and the armor reinforcement if you like it. I'm going for the shock grenades here, as you can see, because I do not have any problems with keeping my armor up with the Bulwark. So, but I'm running the intimidating aura. It's really strong. Each 5 seconds you can trigger this this perk. So I'm running a fencing power sword most of the time. So make sure you take that in account when you're playing the Bulwark and running the intimidating aura, one of the most powerful perks in game. As for the sniper, you almost have total freedom. There's only one perk, it's a prestige perk you have to take into account. It's the exacting focus. After a gun strike you deal 20% more range damage, so you need gun strikes to perform more range damage. If you're running this prestige perk, make sure you are running a fencing weapon, otherwise switch out this prestige perk for a other perk. As for the normal perks, there is no much difference between fencing and blocking, so you have total freedom over there. So as you can see, a few quite strong perks that really synchronize well with fencing and triggering a gun strike to get the most out of it. So let's take a look. Let's take the tactical with a fencing weapon first, or shall we go a Bulwark? Now we're going Bulwark because he is perhaps the best example where you have to make a decision between fencing or blocking. As you can see, we are running intimidating aura. Let's change to armor reinforcement, so we're now full on the 2 perks that require a fencing sword. Let's go to my build one. As you can see, I'm running the fencing power sword. Let's go in a short map of decapitation to show you the fencing capabilities alongside with these 2 perks on the Bulwark build. Well, we made some oopsies over there. There he goes, and we also trigger our armor reinforcements. Intimidating aura again. There we go, perfect example of intimidating aura, armor reinforcement. And this is how you should synchronize your fencing weapons on the Bulwark. There we go again. Armor back. Double gun strike. Well, if this is a perfect example on the fencing weapon with the 2 perks on the Bulwark, I'm not sure about it anymore. It's a great build. It's really fun and strong to run. Let's get back to our dressing room and show you the blocking build on the Bulwark. So as for the blocking builds, take the blocking sword. It has some different stats, as you can see. The fencing has some lesser cleaving potential to the blocking. And make sure, if you trade out your fencing power sword for a blocking power sword, to drop the intimidating aura. It won't be triggered, so go for conviction or forward momentum. I'll take the forward momentum. And as for the armor reinforcements, I'm going back to my shock grenades. These two perks never get triggered with a fencing weapon because you need your gun strikes or perfect parry to trigger the intimidating aura. But the damage output of a blocking melee weapon is way higher than a fencing weapon, so that's the upside. Oh, we are running with someone else. Doesn't matter, let's go. Well, it does matter, he ain't loading. The blocking mechanics are a bit more difficult to master than the fencing. The window is a bit smaller, but the reward is greater damage-wise. Oh, perfect test over here, that's one. All specs again. There we go. Big damage. Let's place our banner. More damage. One big mess, and this is perfect for blocking damage. 1 and 2, and there we go. Keeping our armor up as well, only on a different way. 1, 2, and 3, there we go, and take him down. Power swill for crowd control. The increased range damage is also great on the prestige perk. Let's take him down. Some power rakes and a blocking full block adrenaline boost. And that is how you should play your blocking fence or your blocking melee weapons. I hope I helped you a bit out which one to choose and which setup. The mechanics on it, they're a bit different on the blocking and fencing. I hope you can do your advantage with it. If you have any other ideas or suggestions about the blocking or fencing options, leave them in the comments. Thank you for watching and see you next time, brother. For the Emperor.